Alright, so time to get these icons done. Alright, so welcome to Kernel's Icons tutorial for Hearts of Iron 4. I will be using GIMP today, as you can tell by the program I'm in. I'm in the 2.1 version, so if your version looks different than mine, that is completely normal. Today I'll be making 3 icons for New Canaan for the 2.1 Old World Blues update. The first one we will be making today is Return Dead City. Now, I already taken the liberty of finding some reference pictures for myself I can use. You guys, I highly recommend Google for some of this. That way you can find however many pictures, whatever you need. Okay, so the first thing you gotta do is start with a frame. I already have a frame selected for this icon at least. I have a bunch more laying in the background that I can use for because of OWB file sharing, team file sharing. I will have a link in the description for an asset repo you guys will be able to access. But currently I'm just using my own repo on my personal computer. Now, first we'll be since we are returning Dead City, I need to find the picture I'd chosen for the thing, which was churchruins.jpg. Now, if you notice how this is the incorrect size, it's way too big to fit our thing. Not to worry. Luckily, GIMP does have a rescaling tool. Right here is where mine is, at least. This is what it'll look like if you have it on your computer. You can easily scale it down to fit the size you want. You can always rescale it, which is Control-Z, I believe, to undo it. Also, if you don't get it adjusted in the right spot, don't worry about it. You can always readjust it. Now, I bet some of you are thinking, why is this guy just having this laying around? Aha. To which I will say, this is why you add a layer mask. Then, you draw on the layer, and you can easily just erase. Now, this isn't doing anything because of how I have the brush size set. It's only at 1. It needs to be a whole lot bigger for me to do what I want. And actually erase this. Also, you notice how it's not erasing all? That's because the hardness and the force aren't maxed out. Now, it's really hard to figure out like where you need. So I would highly recommend just figuring out where the icon you want is. Like, I normally work in Photoshop, so this is going to be a bit weird looking. At least that I can provide. But yeah, layer mask is definitely going to be your friend. Unfortunately, this isn't going to work, which is okay with me. Because what I can do is I can easily flip that under, go to the ellipse select, and try to select within the border. For me, GIMP is actually somewhat of a good selection tool. Personally, I do prefer Photoshop and that, because I could just select all this and clean it out in the first place. And besides, I was going to cut that out anyways, eventually. Now, I do recommend being able to zoom in, which is your control and scrolling in. Or you can go into view and just set the zoom angle at any one of these intervals. Or you can go down here and set it manually by typing in a number. But that will work for now. So, I'm going to add the layer mask again. White transparency. That way you can just color in black and it will just uh, cut out whatever you don't want. Now, if you see like the edge cases, I can easily remove that just by selecting it and removing it. That's not actually all that hard to remove or erase. I'm just like layer masking it because I can easily figure out where I can select and remove. See? Then it's pretty much just cleaning it up afterwards. That's mostly the tricky part in GIMP. It's the main reason why I do not use it anymore is because cleaning up is a bit more of a pain in GIMP than it is in Photoshop. But I know people watching this may not be able to afford Photoshop, so that's why I'm doing it in GIMP. Even though I haven't used this program in about 6 months. Roughly. My math is actually correct. Now you notice how I'm just going through everywhere and just making sure it's cleaning. This is just to make sure there are no like extra colors where I don't want them. Now, most people would say, oh hey, there's a done icon. My response, no it is not. Because unfortunately this is not that great of a icon, unfortunately. In my opinion. Oh, also didn't help I was using a gray color to color that out. Now, I have my own personal set of background things. I'm going to show one. However, I will not be including this because I personally was given to it and was told not to share it, unfortunately. Now, you notice how it's a pure silver disc. That is good. It also perfectly fits in the frame, which is what I would want. Except for right here, but I can easily clean that up when I'm done. You can easily move the layers by clicking and dragging them, or there are these up and down arrows right down here, at least on my screen. Now, I'm just going to clean this up real quick, so I don't forget. I've done that before. You can tell on some of the its icons for OWB that I didn't. Now you're like, well, I can't see I can't see a gray blob under it. You're correct. There's a reason for that. Now, if you go into your modes, right above here is where mine are, at least. That's where mine is currently docked. You see all these different options. Now, you can easily just pick whichever one you want. However, I generally try to go for what looks best. I used to prefer grain merge, depending on what type of icon I was using and where I needed it. However, I know that's not for everyone. Now, you might be wondering why I undid it. That's because I had a small epiphany here. I was going to flip the alignment and then move it down down and right a smidge. And I can just go around and clean it up later. Now, go back to here. This is where my tool settings are. This is where my layer settings are. This is text fonts and all that fun stuff. This doesn't have any of my actual fonts I use because I don't know why, but my GIMP bugged out a while ago, and before I had uninstalled it the second time around, and it had goofed up slightly. Oh, set down overlay. Easy mistake to make, accidentally not checking what layer you're on. Now, personally, I think burn would look terrible. Soft light, not something you want unless you're going for like a light gray mist, which is kind of what I want. Now, I'm just going to change the opacity on this to see if I can... Nope, wrong one. Okay, nope, also wrong one. Now, you notice how this looks very grayed out and all around not as good as I think it could. However, it does actually work for the theme of the icon that I want. Because it's Return to Dead City. And gray mist, you want it to look kind of lifeless and not have any like super bright flaring colors. You don't have it to like super exposed, or you want it slightly underexposed, which is slightly grayed to what it would normally be. You can do that one of two ways. Either my personal way is go into not color management. I need tools. No, filters, tools, paint tools, mode, precision, color management. Alright, this might be a bit because I haven't used, oh, here we go, colors. And you can change the exposure via here. You can either overexpose it, make it look like that, or you can underexpose it, make it look grayed out and slightly dead. My personal opinion, that's just a black hole though. You can either overexpose it, make it look super bright, or you can make it look super dark and dead, which is what I would like to try to do. Now, generally I try to eyeball it. Make sure your preview is always on. If you don't have preview, you're generally going to have a rough time, because you don't really know what you're going to be doing per icon. Now, I don't want it to be that far blacked out, but I want it to be less exposed than it would normally be. General rule, I'd say -1 would be a good thing for this icon. Now, if you notice, if I unclick preview, it'll change the setting a bit, which is what I want. I'm going to click OK. That'll save it. You can easily undo it. Then I'm going to go into... where is it? Chroma saturation. Shadows, highlights is what I want, I believe. Yep. You can either make it darker via here, or lighter via here as well. I personally have never... I honestly never touched this unless I can help it. So there's also that you can use. There's also saturation. You can either oversaturate or undersaturate to make it gray and actually gray and dead, which I don't want. I still want to have some color. So I'm just going to desaturate it slightly by 0.2. Well, by roughly 0.2. Now, you can also have a bunch of filters over here. I try not to use these unless I have to, because I actually never had found a use for a whole lot of them. Unless it was like beveling or embossing a not a picture, an outline I was doing. Even then, I do prefer GIMPs. I mean, not GIMPs. I do prefer Photoshop's filters, mostly because there's a lot more of them. But drop shadow is actually your friend if you're making tech icons. It's really easy to set those up with that filter. I use that a lot more than anything else. Now, you know, if it looks like speckled, like dusty and gritty, you can either despeckle it, which clears up some extra thing, which obviously doesn't make it look as good. Yeah, like I said, GIMP not as great as Photoshop, in my opinion. Now, by all accounts, I do have a done icon here. So, I'm going to File. Now, I would always save as, and save it into like a different folder than you would save the frame. That way you don't accidentally save over the frame. I will call this ncn _ ruin dead _ city. That'll save it as a .xcf. Always have it saved as .xcf. If you don't, you're probably going to end up breaking it. That way you can have all of your files saved in a different in the layered format, unlike a PNG, which is just flat image. Because if you ever need to go back and change some things, best way to do it is save as a layered format. You're gonna have a rough time if you're doing that as on a non-layered format. Now, next, I would also save as a same name, just change the .xcf to a .png. Oh, yep, here's the issue. You need to export it. That's why. That's why I stopped using this. Because you actually have to export a PNG of the same name. Which is, in my opinion, stupid. I don't really touch any of this because I do all my converting in paint.net. Which is so easy to convert files to .dds to put in game. It's also free too, I believe, in most cases. I paid for mine just so I can have it all over all of my Windows platforms. Now, this is a done icon. Not one of my best, but it's acceptable for the time being. Now, we have another icon I need to do, which is combat poor reputation. Okay, I remember what I was going to do for that one. Now, again, I'm going to pull up a frame, which I have laying around. As you can tell, I have a lot of frames. This is only one of the many files. Now, it's very hard to try to pick the correct frame. I mean, because in my opinion, there is no incorrect frame. There's only poor choice of frames. Now, my personal frame I'm going to use for this one is probably going to be this one or this one. But given that I want a circular frame, it's going to have to be 4. Now, if you notice, there's 2 right here, so you can work on multiple projects at the same time. Or you can select one project you've been working on and copy it over on top of the next one. But this frame is actually where I'm going to teach you some techniques I do actually use quite often. Now, open as layers again. It's very handy. Now, I've already saved this from yesterday and cut it out. So where is my V? V's. Vaultboy thumbsdown.png. Here we go. This is what I need. Again, way too big. Scale this thing down. Now, most of you may be thinking, well, this kind of thing doesn't fit in the frame. You are correct. It's not going to fit in the frame. And that's why, when you click scale, this is why I taught you about positioning and layer masking in the last section. Now, duplicating the layer under that, it's not actually cut off. Then you scroll back out. Even though I just realized this is a full background frame, so this is going to have to be eyeballed. Very much. So in which case, I'm going to move it. Not that one. So I'm going to undo what I just did and move the original before I layer mask that one. And duplicate it again. Now, so you can easily do that. And then eyeball it. But unfortunately, due to how this is originally set up, I'm not going to be able to do that. Add layer mask. Add. That way you can just click on your paint. Also, make sure you always do it in black. Black is just the instant removal. Now, I'm just trying to get his body into the frame. And by how to do that, without doing it my way, the second way I was going to show you would be if you had an empty frame to do it. Which would just be that the easiest way to do it is turn this off, go on this frame, zoom in so you can see the whole frame easily, then just eyeball where you're going to put it. Then just drag it out and zoom out. Turn this back on, click this, click that, and select. Then you want to select inverse, and that way you can just bang bang boom. This way you just go bang, and you have one vault boy with a thumbs down in the frame. And you notice how how it looks like he's still in the frame. And of course, you zoom out to the actual size of the icon, unclick that, click the whole thing so it's actually all selected. Doesn't look like he's even sticking out of the frame at all. Now, combat our poor reputation is what this icon is for original. I had this because it symbolizes poor representation. English. It's thumbs down because people giving you thumbs down because poor reputation. Now, how to get the combat portion. I have an icon laying around on here. Somewhere, should be in my small icons. If I look, should be. Nope. I have a lot of icons, so this is actually. So searching through them all is actually quite a pain, quite often. Yeah, a lot of DDS's files, unfortunately. Okay, I may not actually have it in this file, which is okay with me, considering I have it in a different file as a PNG, I believe. Okay, so, generics. Yep, here it is. Here's where it should be. Here we go, band.png. This is the one I want. Got these from a guy on the dev team, I got this from the ERB dev, but he is also on the dev team. Which, that is a done icon to me. Now, it may look a bit busy, and that's also, in my opinion, that I may have made that thing scale too big, but ignore my dog barking in the background. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, my opinion is, don't make it entirely overwrite the frame. Just have it unfortunately, this thing's a whole lot bigger than the guy's a whole lot bigger than the actual frame, due to how I wanted it. So, unfortunately, I didn't actually think a whole lot of this through. It's important to think your icons through before you make them. Otherwise, you end up like me and not realizing, oh no, I messed this up. But, if you have to go through several drafts worth of icons, which I generally do, this is just me getting 3 rough and dirty icons done for Sunday's release, I believe. Now, click scale. Bang, bang, boom. Got yourself an icon. Again, with the naming convention, save as. Always save as layered, different frame, different folder. This one will be ncn _ combat _ poor _ reputation. I generally save things how I'm going to put them in the mod. You don't have to do that. It just saves me a bit of time when I'm putting them in the mod as DDS. So I don't have to what did I name this again? Oh, right, I named it that. Now, Peacekeepers once more. That I'm actually going to use a frame I had made previously. This is not one you can find on any of our repos currently, because I had made it ages ago. Let's see if I can find it. If I can't find it, I will probably just wing one up, because I know how I made it. It's not that hard. It was just a silver and blue icon frame. Here's what I want. Nope, not what I want. This is what I want. Let's hopefully convert. Yada. Oops. Not the self. Don't do that. Make sure you always just click open before you do that. That way you don't do what I just did. Okay, that's not... No, this was the old icon that I was going to use for a teaser. Unfortunately, Zap did, however, make one that was really good compared to mine. There we go. Now it opens all my things in one. I'm going to turn off this, because I don't really need that. I'm going to recolor in this, because I know it's just a plain white background currently. Now, what was I going to be doing for this one? Answer, not having that, because unfortunately this is just going to be a straight background. Now, open as layers. Reason I want that there is so I can have that. I believe I named this icon. I found this online. Again, Google, very much your friend. Not sure how much I can reiterate that. Now, it may seem like I'm doing this very fast, but you can easily pause it at any time and do whatever you want. Just, icons do come very easy to me due to how long I've been doing them. Albeit, not in this case. Yeah, I saved it as JPEG. Now, again, way too big. Scale this bad boy down. Unfortunately, it's also not in the right spot. Again, movement tool. You can just move it. And this is when you scoot it down slightly, because it's unfortunately outside the clip angle. And this is when you... Now, due to it being a JPEG, you can either remove the alpha section and just straight up cut it, or be lazy like me and just add a layer mask and just color it in. Oh, again, had it on white. This button and this button. Always your friend when you're layer masking. Now, you notice how easily I'm doing compared to when I first did it. That is because I had gray on the first time and I didn't realize it until I looked at the layer section. So far, so good. Voila. Now, again, icon not done. Layer things are your friend. Layer modes are your friend. Yes. English. What was it there for a second? Now, again, as normally I would go overlay. Unfortunately, doesn't look that great in this scenario. Hard light, bip looks actually really good in this scenario. But let's try my favorite one, grain merge. Oh yeah, that's top. That is tippity freaking top. Okay, as you can tell, I may have accidentally cut into the icon there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Oh no, I just straight up didn't have that part exist. Okay, no problem. Now, if you notice, there's this tool right here. This is the smudge tool. Oh no, yes, this is the... Oh, right, I'm smudging the, that. Right. Now I'm gonna, real quick, hit this entire section with a white barrier. So then I'm going to click this and just smudge it like I'm going insane. Fortunately, it's not going anywhere because, well, I'm not exactly sure why. Okay, real quick, I'm just going to remove this layer and just redo it afterwards. I'm not sure what that layer mask is causing to happen, but I'm just going to undo the entire layer mask, honestly. Then just... Okay, I did accidentally uncut it. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm not actually familiar with layer masks in this. Alright, again, gotta flip it back. So, oops, as you can tell, I accidentally hit that. Always, always, always double check your icon. I would recommend always zooming in when you're layer masking, that way you don't accidentally do what I did and cut something out that you shouldn't have. Because otherwise you're just going to be in for a rough time. And voila. Perfectly cut out, masked, and all that. All you need to do now, I'm actually going to turn this on probably, and then just overlay that over that. Unfortunately, these don't have masking, so I'm going to have to eyeball it. Yeah, I may have to change this to a dark gray if I'm going to do that. Yeah, no stuff, don't click that far down. But yeah, you notice how it's really, really light when it shouldn't be? Yeah, gonna have to color that, change that. So what I would do, saturate. Nope, saturation doesn't work with white. You could curve it, and it would actually show real time. At least it should, if I am correct. Okay, let's go with color temp. It's a good way to either get really blue, or if you want, really freaking red. Personally, I'm thinking a nice orange. Nice, vibrant, smoky orange. If I was going to actually do that. I'm not, because that's Peacekeepers once more. It's not supposed to be like super red and death. So, brightness contrast. You can either decrease the brightness, which is what I would recommend, and change the contrast a bit to where it's not like entirely black, but it's also not like super grayed out either. Now, these are not my best icons because I'm not using the program, my preferred program. When I'm done, I'm probably going to go back through and edit all these in Photoshop, probably when I'm done. But either way, this is a done icon. Now, I'm going to save this as, always save as a layered format. This will be saved as ncn underscore Peacekeepers, just so I know what it is. .xcf, save. I'm going to export as this. I'm not going to actually export this one because I actually don't like it as is. This is just showing icon and masking and how to fix your issues you had previously. Undo is very much your friend. Then export it as. I'm just going to export it anyways, just to go through it once again, how to export. These are all my settings. Now, if you don't like an icon, I would highly recommend just going back through Google and just trying to find a completely different picture. Or in this case, just trying to find a different background to overlay it on. And with that, that will be the video on how I make my icons in GIMP, which I haven't actually used in forever, so if there's any outstanding issues, or if anybody wants me to cover some different objects or opinions, I can most certainly do that. Thank you for watching.